Morning YouTube, welcome to my first video of 2022. It is on the MG, the final leg of the MG. I've started the final project, which is the front suspension, and I am sort of almost halfway, maybe not, but I'll show you what I've got up to so far. I've stripped down the passenger front already and got the lower wishbone in place, and I'm about to start the driver's side front, and I'll give you a heads up on easiest ways to do it, having done one side already. I did sadly break my spring compressors yesterday while trying to build up the leg for the passenger side front, so I've ordered another set. Absolutely I've actually boxed them up to return them, so I can't show you them unfortunately, but they weren't expensive. They were about £18, something like that, and they're basically a black rod threaded, and they got a pair of hooks on each end, and you wind them up and they pull the springs in. The ones that I purchased were, the hooks were actually welded to the threaded section that went down the strut. They snapped in no time. I know you've got to clamp them down equally. Don't put too much pressure on one side because that won't help them. They're more likely to break that way. But these went under no tension whatsoever. So I bought them originally through Amazon, which I hadn't realised. I bought them about a month ago. So I contacted them yesterday and they've taken them back, so I'll get a refund. Good old Amazon. And I've got a new pair arriving this afternoon, but I've gone for a different kind of set, a little bit more expensive, but the entire hook and threaded part is all one piece, so there's no weld there to snap. Really poor, the other ones. So just a bit of, choice is yours obviously. Right, let's have a quick look at the car and see where we are up to. Okie dokie, here we go. Right, that's moved. Right, okay, so I've removed the leg. That is done via 3 bolts in there. I've taken out the old arm, the old wishbone arm, whatever you want to call it. Got a nice new joint in there. Got a nice new one there. That one, this is the subframe here. You undo that bolt and then you've got to separate this from the subframe. It was a nightmare. I had to put a lot of heat on that and a lot of tension. I used a ball joint splitter, but I got there in the end. That shouldn't be sitting like that. Let's just try it a little bit. That's better. Okay, so yeah, and I've repainted what I can see of the anti-roll bar. The new joints in there, that's fine, and the new bearing, which is here. Now to get to those, you've got to drop the subframe. It's awkward because there are 2 bolts right back behind my fingers, and these are hard. This is a rubber mount, and you've got to slide the end in, which I'll show you later, into that joint, and it's very difficult to do it. Certainly in the car, and the problem is this is fouling your access to those bolts, so it's a chicken and egg scenario. See which way you find is best for you. But yeah, this is so far where we're at with the driver's or passenger side front. I've got to build the leg up when I get my new spring compressors, but let's pop round to the other side and we can start the dismantle. Right, here we are. So wheels off. That's pretty much all I've done so far here. What we're going to do, I'm going to remove the caliper. I think they're 15mm. Top of my head. Yeah, you got a 15mm bolt there, one down the bottom underneath here. I'm going to take the caliper off, take the wear limiter out, disconnect this little spring clip here. I've sprayed everything up because it was all quite corroded, but basically that one there, if you put your screwdriver in it like that and just give it a wiggle, I've already loosened this one off, and that spring will pop up, allowing you to remove it, and it just pops in behind it, holds the pipe in place. I'll take that out in a minute. And then we're going to remove the leg. We've got a 22mm nut on the track rod end to undo. Mark them off a little bit so you can put them back in roughly the correct place. You will need to get the tracking checked when you finished assembly, because it will be out a little bit. You won't get it spot on. We've got to take the drop link arm off. I'm not going to take it off of the leg because that's coming out and going, so we're going to undo the drop link arm. This is a, what is that? It's a 14mm spanner, goes on the back of the ball joint just to stop it turning. You've got this one here to take out. That has to slide right out. In order for that ball joint, it just drops out. And then you've got your main bolt here, which goes through, which holds your leg in situ, which is a 15mm. And then you've got your track rod end bolt to take out. You can see how perished that ball joint is. So I'll try and set the camera up and give you an idea. And then of course you've got your 3 bolts on the top eventually, which will allow the leg to drop through. If it's spinning, I'd loosen this nut off. Don't take it off all the way first, because the whole lot will spring out on you, but slacken this off, maybe come to the top of the thread with the nut, and then you've got a socket like an Allen bolt which fits in there to prevent it turning while you're undoing the nut. Okay. Oh, and also you've got to take your disc off, so you've got your Torx, what is that, a 50 is it? Let's have a look. Yep, Torx 50 in there. In order to get that off, if it's tight, if you just pop a screwdriver on before you take your caliper off in the disc like there, that will lock it off and you'll be able to turn that and remove it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got the caliper out. It's just supported to avoid that pipe getting stressed. Removed the brake pipe and the ABS sensor from the bracket. We've disconnected the lower part of the drop link arm. This bit's coming out with the leg, so it doesn't really matter. And of course the caliper's off and the disc is off as well. So now all we need to do, this is the track rod end. That's a 22mm bolt there, nut. Just slacken that off a little bit, make a note of where it is and don't move it back too far, so that you can put it back almost in exactly the same place, because this is what's going to throw your steering angle out. But again, it will want checking. And this one here, and then we've just got the bolt on the lower leg this bolt passes through a little bracket within that leg to locate it, to stop it popping out, and then you've got the single bolt there at the bottom to take out as well. We'll do that lot next. Right, so we've disconnected the track rod end from here and from the rack. That is that piece there. Say that nut there, I haven't moved that nut, so when I go to screw on my new one, I will screw it all the way up to that and lock it off, and that should only put my tracking out millimeters prior to getting it tested. The bolt that holds the strut to the hub, I've loosened it off, and it is literally just spinning around in there, because if I pull that out, then the whole bottom section is going to want to drop out. I have removed the bolt. Where are you? I can see you. Where are you? Where are you? There. I've removed that bolt from there. That one looks like that. And like I say, it locates through on the ball joint on the, so this stops it from dropping out. But anyway, basically, besides the top section, I'm ready to drop out the bottom. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll show you when I'll come back to you when I've got it all out, because it's a bit fiddly and I can't keep the camera in there. Right, the leg is still in situation. I haven't removed that yet. I've separated this joint from there just with a pry bar. It dropped down, that was fine. In here, hold on a second. You'll see my ball joint removing tool. Whack that in between. The lower section is the subframe, what I'm shining the torch on now. The upper is the arm that we're replacing. And basically I undid the nut, and what I did, I put my jack on the bottom of the nut and basically jacked the car up on that stud, put the ball joint splitter in the gap, because you can lift this up to get it high. I've got to get it out now, but the ball joint is now, where are you? Yeah, free. So now it's just a case of getting the splitter out, and I shall remove the leg. Like I said, I'll undo this one first just to slacken it off. Don't take it all the way off, because it will catapult out through the bottom of the car. Undo these three, 1, 2 and 3, lower the leg out, and then when I get my new spring clamps, which will arrive later today, I will rebuild them. In the meantime, I'm just going to have a clean up, get this wishbone out, which is now just a juggling act because it's situated in here, just see the bottom of that joint there, which it just literally pulls out of there, but it's not straight, it's not easy. And then obviously I've got to get the ball joint clear of the subframe, and then I can maneuver that out, and then we can fit a new one along with that joint there. So as for parts, let's have a look at some parts. Okay, lower wishbone, it's upside down in relation to how it would be in the car. This is the joint that would be in here. So basically if we turn this over, right, you're talking about that slots in there. This goes through the subframe, and this is the new joint which goes into the hub assembly. We've got a new better looking track rod end, and this is the new what do we call that, drop link arm. Okay, and there's also bearings to go on the top of the leg. This is the other side. I've not been able to rebuild it because I need to get my spring compressor sorted out, and that is fundamentally it for now. So I'm going to clean everything up inside the car, underneath the car should I say, and get that wishbone, get this out with a bit of jiggery pokery, and you'll join me when I'm ready to start reassembling. Fingers crossed, probably very soon. Just going to say, splitting that joint with the ball splitter on the driver's side, I didn't use any heat at all on that. Very lucky. The other side was a real pig. I used a lot of heat on that, and a lot of banging and a lot of realignment of the ball joint splitter. So this one was a result. I'm well pleased with that. But like I say, if you are going to use heat on it, it's not a problem. Just make sure on the driver's side, if you're going to use heat, there is a pipe that runs along the wishbone area, which you're going to have to move if you're going to use heat, because that will get melted. Okay, so just be careful that there's nothing in your way if you're going to use some heat on it. But still, we're good now, and it's literally just clean up and then we can start reassembling. Bye for now. Right, morning. I have got both the wishbones in. The weather outside is extremely wet and horrible, so I'm not working outside. This morning I have been concentrating on rebuilding the legs. So let's take a look at those, and they were a joy, I can tell you. Now originally, when I took the springs out from the old legs, I used the clamps on, for example, here and here, and that was suitable enough to take the load off to release the nut on each end. When I came to put them back, I tried the same plan again here and here, and it wasn't enough to compress to get the distance I needed for the stud on the end of the leg to come through. So what I then did was I connected them. Basically, I put the bottom hook underneath the actual strut itself, same there and there, so I got obviously that extra distance, and that worked perfectly. You're bringing these springs virtually together. That's how much tension there is on them. That one I've given a paint up and a clean up again, and that one's ready to go back. That one is the passenger front one, and this is the driver's side rear front one. Now these are all loosened off now, so I shall remove those. It's job done. Now these are, like I say, I couldn't show you the clamps that I purchased because they've actually gone back now. These ones are on Amazon, about 20 quid. As you can see, if you're going to buy a pair, look at the shoulders and the hooks, they're all one piece. The ones I had first of all were a separate hook, tack welded here and here. Absolute rubbish. They would never deal with that kind of tension that's required to get that spring back in there. But still, we are all done now, so I'm well happy. I'm waiting for the rain to drop off. I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Like I say, it's a bit grim out here. I don't know if I can show you. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, you can see Wishy Boney is in situation there and there, and the other side, you know, it's done. I've already shown you that. Hi Porsche, love you. Honestly, it's going to be days and I'll be back on the 911. Can't wait. So yeah, I'm going to have a long, well-earned cup of tea, have a tidy up. I'm just going to put a bit of paint around the leg I've just finished off, and then it's basically reassembly. And as long as the rain drops off a little bit, I will start that job next, because I would like to almost get finished today if I can, but it'll probably in reality be tomorrow. Anyway, nothing else to report. Like I say, Amazon, they're available on Amazon. They're about £17-18, those spring clamps. You know, there are some out there that are really dear, but they've done a cracking job and I'm really pleased with those. And of course I was able to return the broken ones a month later, first use, and they snapped, but they're great. So make sure the shoulders and the centerpiece are all one piece and not a weld job. Anyway, tea time. Catch you later. Here we are on the driver's side, now all back and complete. New strut, old spring, new strut in situation. Brake pipes put back, that is the wear limiter. Track rod end all tightened up, 22mm. Obviously the wishbone, that's in. Drop link. When you're putting, a couple little tips for you, when you're putting these back in, put your drop link arm in before you put your leg in. Put on the top bolt, because this, you can't get at it. There's no way you'll do it outside. You'll be a pain in the arse, and you can connect the bottom up later on. Caliper's back, the disc is back. I'm not changing the discs. There's hardly any lip there whatsoever, and the pads are quite good. They've got to take up since I put them in, and that is basically it. Another thing as well, before you put the hub into that bottom joint there, put your leg in, loose fit your 3 bolts on the top inside under the engine bay, and then you can use a jack on, if you have trouble getting it in, you can use a jack on here to push up so that this piece allows the bottom of the strut to slide through. And then on the back of the strut you have got a little leg that sticks out that slots in down inside the bracket, so you cannot put them in the wrong place. And the 3 bolts that go through inside the bonnet, they can't go back the wrong way either, so you can't go wrong. And that's fundamentally it for this side. Just got to put the wheel on. I'm just going to double check everything's tight. And this is the passenger front, all back, all nice and snug in there. The wheels on, just got to tighten the wheel nuts up, and we're ready for a test run. Woohoo! So that's about it for the ZTT front suspension. I've taken it out for a run and I am well impressed. I'll try and I might do a little video on the road with it next time, but it's time now to just give her a final clean up and try and find her a new home, because my work is done and I want to get on with my 911, because it's about time. It's now January, it's 4 degrees outside, and I've only got a couple of months before she goes back on the road, and then we start planning a few road trips as well. Hopefully this year we might even get Germany in, who knows, fingers crossed. But anyway, thanks for watching, hope that's of help to you. If there's any questions or anything else that you'd like to know, then regarding the front end, like I say, it's not too difficult. The most awkward thing, I suppose, is the anti-roll bar bushes, because you need to drop the subframe down to get access to them, and it's a fiddly job. You can only pull come down so far before you're going to end up taking the exhaust off as well. So that is a real pain in the bum. But nevertheless, I'm confident and pleased with the results, and know that the car will go on now for many years, having all those parts replaced, and with a bit of TLC, she'll continue to give her next owner a lot of fun and enjoyment. Lovely. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Porsche Minor Mechanic signing off on the MG, and the next video I can pretty much be sure will be on the 911, so Porsche back in the frame. Thanks for watching, and if I haven't said it already, Happy New Year to you. Bye for now.